paper. Here we go. So, what do we write? Last night, I held the world in my hand. Held it so tight that tonight we'll turn it to sand. Hold tight, cause you just got the mic in my hand. Hold tight. Last night, I held the world in my hand. Held it so tight that tonight we'll turn it to sand. Hold tight, cause you just got the mic in my hand. Roll lights. Camera, action, bang. I was born in St. Bridget's in Portlaoise, which is also known as Hungry Hill. I was also known as Little Belfast years ago, when it was really bad with development going on. But it was situated between a prison at the back of the estate and a railway line. And in that, that was our world growing up. We knew nothing else. The alleyways were escapes, from manhunts and running through from the cops and whenever we did bad. But it was a great place to grow up, it was. It harvested a lot of things, a lot of good people and bad people. Your life, we hate this like case, and we fucking hope you celebrate every mistake you make. Welcome to party time. Complete investing, population is congested, manifesting through detesting. Welcome to party time.
It really just happened so suddenly, and it was a very dark time at that stage. He had a lot going for me. I mean, we were just after being on the Podge and Rod show and shooting the video, and it was kind of really kicking off. I think it was just happening a bit too quickly, maybe as well.
On stage, I'm Wally, often I'm Kieran, if that makes any sense. And so I suppose it's a front. It's become the person I want to be when I'm on stage.
I remember when they got older, any of mine will tell you, if they done anything, they were lined up on the couch, and he always had a wooden spoon. Kieran, the whole lot of him, you hear Kieran, oh jeez daddy, don't, please don't, daddy, no, you hurt my leg, daddy, you hurt my leg. This went on for a long, long time. But I found out after. I used to go into the bathroom. I know I would do my shopping, and I'd have a big packet of toilet roll, there could be 12 in it. And I noticed all the toilet roll. I said, jeez, that's going down an awful lot. And I said to the lads here, I would have been a while after, it would have been a couple of years after they were kind of older, and they'd be talking about growing up and when they used to be lined up to get a clatter with a wooden spoon. I said, the only thing, lads, I'd noticed is the toilet roll. Do you know what they used to do? They used to go into the toilet, they used to get the toilet roll and wrap it all around their legs for where they were going to get the clatter with the wooden spoon. The evening that he actually came in, he went off to that young lad's party. The husband was after telling me he wasn't going. I told him he wasn't allowed to go. So he did. He bested the husband and he went off to this young lad's house. So he came back. He got give out to. That night the husband was going up for went up for a drink. Now the husband, sometimes he wouldn't have patience with Kieran, because Kieran grew up and he told a lot of lies and we could never trust him. No matter what he tell you, he'd always say, that's not the truth. I would never believe Kieran, because he told us too many lies growing up. And the husband went up for a drink and he says to me, I'll deal with him when I come back. Now, of course, me sitting down thinking dealing with him was the wooden spoon, because I used to hate to see them getting clattered. I know, like when they were young, you would have to give them a few clatters, maybe give out to them to put manners on them. So I said, geez, I said, if he comes in now, maybe one or two with him, I won't like it if he hits him. So I said, right, I said, lads, gather up what you have. We gathered all their stuff, and I had a sister lived out at the Rock of Dunamace, and I rang her and I said, Kieran's after being in trouble, and she's me again. And I said, I'm going out for a while, because I said, the husband's gone uptown. I said, if he comes back, one or two of them, I said he might lose it with Kieran, because Kieran might answer him, or he might, under his breath, like he used to always do, answer him. So we went out and we stayed there. We were there about 2 days. And the husband rang me and he says, Mary, he says, any harm in asking? He says, why are you out there? I said, I was afraid. I said, I was afraid that you would lose your temper with him for the way he bested you and went. Well, he says, I probably would have ended up, he says, maybe giving him a few clatters. Or maybe, grounding him again, which as he says doesn't work. So I was there for a few days and he rang me and he says, Mary, come back. He says, you'll have to come back. He says, we'll have to talk this out. So I came back. I remember the day I came back, it was lashing rain. Kieran was terrified. He kept saying, is Daddy going to give out to me? Am I going to be in trouble? Or am I going to be grounded? I said, I don't know, Kieran. I said, you'll have to wait till we come in and sit down and talk it out. So we came in and he sat down, Kieran was there, and he said to Kieran, he says, any harm in asking? He says, why did you do that? Why did you best me? He says, when I told you now, I wanted to go, he said. Because he says, some of the lads in my class was going. And why was I not allowed to go? And so he sat down and he says, half the time, he says, I get this feeling, he says, I'm at nothing talking to you. So the husband says to me, he says, I'll tell you what I will do, Mary. He says, from now on, he says, he can do what he likes. He can go where he wants. There's no point, he says, in me giving out to him. He says, if I give out to him, he says, if I give him a clatter, he says, I have to listen to you. So to be honest, from that day up to this, he never chastises. My mother used to say, they have to be chastised. He never chastised them.
Well, I've always been into martial arts, loved martial arts. I actually loved martial arts when I was 12 or 13 due to my hyperactivity. My mother put me into it, my father, to burn off some energy. So they thought. I think that's where the love of it, I grabbed it there. But it was 2001 I started the style I do now with Shotokan. Great style. That grounded me mentally, physically. But yeah, for a good 3 years. And then I started getting heavy into drugs again. Lost all interest in it. But the one thing that helped me express who I was physically, that was good for me. Like the anger got out through the movements, through the different sequences. Lost interest in that.
So I was here one day in particular, and I remember Kieran coming in through the door, and there was a terrible strong smell of petrol. Now I didn't say anything to him, and of course I was thinking he was out on the road helping someone, you know, maybe fixing cars or this, that and the other, like something to do with petrol, or maybe he went up to get some petrol for someone, spilt it on themselves, but wouldn't have a clue what he was doing with petrol.
He says, oh, do you want to sniff of this? We were all standing on the lane and he was walking up. I says, how? I didn't know how to do it. Like, he says, what do you mean sniff it? Like, I says, I'll show you. So he took off the cap and sucked in the fumes. And he just let the bottle go.
It went on for a long time. The husband says to me, he got it a few times off him. This strong smell of petrol.
My parents smelled it off me. I says, what's the smell of petrol? He says, I was just playing manhunt and I was hiding underneath a car and it was leaking. So stupid, like the excuses you come up with. Stupid. Well, I've always been a dreamer. I've always dreamt of things I thought I would never achieve. Like I wanted to be an astronaut, wanted to be an archaeologist, all these things. And in school, I never wanted to be in school. I hated it. I didn't like being confined to four walls, and teachers, it just never clicked with me. So while the teacher was teaching away, I just sketch or write a poem or dream or look out the window and say, someday I'll go there, or it's crazy. Then you'd hear the slap of a book. Oh, look, Mr. Loughlin, wake up, wake up. If you just walk back into it. But I didn't like school. I hated it so much. I liked my woodwork. I liked the hands-on thing, mechanical drawing. I loved that. Mr. Scott, he was one of my favourite teachers, actually. He just connected me with talking and like, look, Kieran. I said, Kieran. I said, don't be like that, sir. Sit down and just relax. I suppose growing up, I probably thought I was the black sheep, yeah, because I was the wild card. I done everything. I caused problems. I fixed problems. I caused a lot of tension. I mean, I done a lot wrong. I'm not pleading for sympathy. Like, I'm just stating the obvious. I did a lot wrong, and I suppose I felt emotionally I was neglected to a degree. Should have deserved it, but anything I done wrong, I was just struck with. I mean, there was anger. I wasn't talked. I was either hit badly. I mean, that struck fear. That's what made me rebellious too. So that's stemmed my problems from later life stemmed from there, I think, my childhood. Just wasn't listened to.
He was in so much trouble and he got so many clatters and he used to, go on, I don't fucking care. In here, he'd say, Mammy, in here I used to keep thinking, let him hit me, I don't care. I don't, sure that doesn't hurt me. It doesn't worry me. You look at the way he was thinking. So the guard was sitting here and he says to him, I'll tell you now, he said, what you were doing, he says, you were building a little cell. And the other fellow was sitting looking at him, you're building a little cell. Now he says, each time I come down here, that little cell, he says, is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? Now he says, coming to the end, there'll be a little roof, he says, on that. Be like a little house. And he says, eventually, he says, you'll be living in it. He says, what do you mean, I'll be living in it? Well, he says, it's like this, he says, you're only a young lad, he says. You're going around, he says, you're causing your mother and father a lot of trouble. You keep doing that, he says, and you're going to be locked up. You're going to be in a cell.
I was in a nightclub in town. I was with a friend of mine. So we were just sitting there, we were sitting at the back of the nightclub drinking away. My friend disappeared for a while. He came back. We were well tipsy, well-oiled and drink. We were just sitting there talking away and he just nudged me and says, there, don't want them. I says, what are they? He says, easy, I got two of them there. I says, oh, no way, man. He says, come on, sir, I'll take one, you'll take one. I says, no. I was actually terrified to take that. Because I heard stories of people hallucinating and doing this, and I says, no way.
Here we go again. Cocaine and ecstasy are taking over my mind. Cocaine and ecstasy are taking over my mind. Cocaine and ecstasy.
I loved it. I loved the experience I got off it. I loved the outer body experience. I loved the escape from reality. You weren't looked upon. You weren't frowned upon. I just loved it. It was my chance to be someone else. But wasted so much of my life. Wasted so much opportunities. Biggest mistake in my life was that night, taking that pill. But I learned a lot from it. It'd be worse if I didn't. Changed me. It made me live a lie for 9 years. Constant lie. Lying to myself, I was happy. I messed up on opportunities to be so happy, on jobs, to go travel, relationships, a lot of things. It's just a lie. That's all you do when you live drugs. You can't convince yourself you're not, because you are living a lie. So I knew I needed help. But I was just so self-proud to ask for it, and ashamed to say, "Geez, I actually have a problem." Because people see me as Wally, the rapper. Geez, he's deadly, he's mad, he has great songs, but behind it all, I was actually crying out for help. I mean, there's no other way of explaining it. I actually approached the doctor one day. I got a surge of confidence. I walked in and I even said to the doctor, I think I need help. He looked at me and says, I told him, he says, I'm depressed. He says, what have you to be depressed for? I looked at him. I went inside, I said, you fucking prick. I said, you have to come in here and telling you that I actually need help when I told no one else. And that turned me off then. So I says, you know what? That was my last resort, to seek help, and he couldn't even help me. I was just cocooned in my room for months. Never went out, lost touch with everyone. My friends, martial arts, party scenes, everything was gone. I lost touch with my family. It was just complete flip side of me, From such an outgoing person, I even lost interest in performing, doing live gigs. People would ring me to do a gig and I says, oh no, I'm busy recording. I had no confidence at all, no confidence. Lost everything, gone. And then, actually, the episode, I knew, as I said, it was building up. And then it all came to one big head. I knew it was coming, felt it coming, and it did. It was actually on the day Michael Jackson died. That's when it all happened. I woke up that morning, had a joint, or smoked a joint, went down, and I heard it on the news, Sky News. My brother was there. I said, oh, Michael Jackson dead. My brother said, so? I says, what? He says, so? I says, biggest entertainer in the world. Oh, he's not. That just spiled me straight away, because I did love music. I did actually love his music. I says, we had a bit of a fun or an argument then of he studied Nietzsche, a philosopher, and I loved Michael Jackson. And he just said, sir, Nietzsche's after doing more for the world than Michael Jackson did. I says, you answer me one person in this town would know of Nietzsche. Then we started huffing and hawing. That just triggered me straight away that day. Sick of it now, have enough of it. So I knew what I was going to do. I knew I says, right, what that's it. And there's two ways out. To get my brother's rifle, or there's a razor blade out in the shed. Because I used to work in mechanics, and I had the razor blades for taking off stickers of cars now when they come in fresh off the boats. Went out to the shed and got the blade, went back upstairs. I was shaking and I was trembling, like, had my hand in hand and says, right, where am I going to go? And I picked a spot, which was another graveyard, the high graveyard, the Burning Ridge it's called. Went down there, and it's funny part, it was in just everything, my peripheral vision was gone. I knew what I was going to do. Not next, I walked out the door, I don't know, something could have been said with me, I don't know. Someone could have said hello, never heard a thing. I walked straight up to that cemetery, sat there with trembling hands. I'm left-handed, had the bread in my left hand. I knew my right wrist. I says, right, will I go lateral or horizontal bit? Looked around, and I was shaking, took a deep breath. And one thing just clicked with me. I seen a mother coming out, caressing her child out of school. And I was just that emotional. I said, look how simple their lives is, and look how turmoil's in my head. I says, no, fuck this, something's not right. So something just taught me to go, walk. So I got the blade, threw it behind me, I walked straight up to the Garda station. Can't even remember walking up, who I met on the way, it was all a blur. I walked in through the door. I was very upset, very disturbed, and there was 2 or 3 people in front of me. I sat in the seating area, and I was there. I was shaking, I said, Jesus, what am I doing here? I'm making sure of myself now if I say anything. I says, what are you doing? Then he says, something told me, stay where you are, stay where you are. Then one person went, so he says, next there please. There was one person in front of me, and he said, go now. So I kind of went like that. Just said, no, I'll wait for a minute.
It was a general day for community policing. We'd have been out patrolling. I was back in the station, and I just happened to be walking through the public office, heading out to my office here, when I noticed in the foyer Kieran, who was very distressed, so the natural instinct would be to go over and ask him, was he all right?
I took one deep breath. I says, I need help.
And at that stage then, he just told me that he was feeling depressed and suicidal. So, typically Irish, I said, come on in and we'll have a cup of tea. So I brought him inside, we sat down, had a cup of tea, just a general chat.
So the very caring, they brought me in, made me cups of tea, set me down, and says, what's wrong with you? And I just broke down. Just told them, I says, they just knew about me, I was in a bad state.
You don't want to force conversation on anyone. It's their time. They're after making a big decision to come in, look for help. So you're not imposing your opinion on anyone or, forcing talk, and that quiet time sometimes is good. And like he was facing a challenge now with himself on how to turn his decision, what he was going to do around, and turn it into a positive where it changes his course of life.
I felt safe. Safe in my surroundings, really. Because I know I was in a safe place. 10 minutes prior to that, I was standing on top of a hill. It's just surreal, the changing of atmospheres. But there was immediate relief for me. I think it was more so the cry, when I broke down crying. Because I hadn't cried in 6 years. I held it all in, that's all. I think, that's turning point to me, I think. Plus the help that the guards were so helpful. And for years I was on the wrong side of the law, and now here I was getting help from them. I have to give them great credit for what they did.
He made the decision. It's him. He made all the decisions. He came to the Garda station. he decided he needed help. I was just there to guide him in the way of where he needed to go to get that help. That's the way I look at it. And a cup of tea, typical Irish thing to do. But you're, hey, everything, a lot of things can be solved with a cup of tea, so it can.
I didn't want to be a burden on anyone else, really. That's the biggest. I mean, I was a burden on myself. Keep a problem hidden, yeah, it's going to eat you away. It really does grab you. But then I think what really hit home with me was that I think it was 5-6 months after my episode, my best friend, he passed away by suicide. That was hard. He hung himself. But I know what he felt, you know. He felt trapped, confused, afraid. You know, it's crazy, isn't it? Maybe he didn't know where to go for help. Judging him by the way the doctor reacted to me, that's not very inspiring. But when I seen him in the coffin, that egged me on. I said, now I know why I'm here. I've been there, you know what I mean? It's the worst thing to do is, well, looking back now, it's easy for me to talk about it now, but back then, I felt it was I couldn't talk to anyone. I didn't know any different. It's so easy to talk to people. Now I know that now. It's so easy to ask for help. We all need help through life. Every stage of life, we all need help. But I'm a stronger person now. Way stronger. I know who I am now. I never did for a long, long time, you know. I wasn't able to do a lot of things with depression or with the problems I had. I wasn't even having relationships with girls. I could have been happy more times. I could have been married more times. Well, I mean, presumably, but I couldn't give them the love that they wanted when I didn't love myself. I couldn't give them the affection that they wanted. When I hated myself, do you know what I mean? That's what people say to me, like, why are you single? I choose to be single. Well, I chose, you know what I mean? I had too much anger. I had too much anger or suppressed. I couldn't make them happy or be happy. So, but it's good now though, it's all good. Rip it up, rip it up. Wine and some liquor in, just to kick in when the lights start flickering. Vicar. So you don't really have to make sense. Not that I do any time, but majority of the time, it's just all about your clever way of selecting the words and the arrangement that you put them in that rhyme. Of course, it's benefits sometimes if you can make a good story from it. Vicar in. Ask when the vicar is. Ask when the vicar is in. The vicar's in. Ask her in. Ask her in. Ask her in tin tin. Ask her when dancing. Ask her in tin tin. When is the vicar in? Ask her in tin tin. When is the vicar in? That's cool. It just flows when you run a good wavelength, good ideas start just, just pour out. My name's Wally from Portlaoise in Ireland. Alright, what are you going to do? So there's a bit of rapping and they were very nice, very helpful. Says, you better and them and them. And I said, no. I said, someday I will be. Okay, well, there's the stage and the best of luck. I said, 5, 4, and every minute. I was there, this is it. And it was all muffled out. Lost fucking, it was weird. And go. Then I walked down, next time, kept the head down, next lifted up. 1, 2, 3 floors, 3 levels of a crowd. I said, oh, fuck, this is it now. But it was brilliant, Then to see Simon Cowell and the 3 judges, which was so surreal. To see them face value instead of behind the screen. It was a great experience. And they were interviewing me, and I don't even know what I said. I was that nervous. I don't know what I replied. So when I look back on the show now, I'm going to say that's a part of me that I forgot all about. So I done my song, or got the crowd involved, explained to them what the chorus was. I'd rather be a rapper than a headbanger. They were right behind me. Great feedback from the crowd. The song kicked off, and the first verse was gone. I didn't even remember singing it. I was just shaking with nerves and lost in the moment. Then the chorus kicked in, the crowd got involved. Great experience. I said, yes, I'm winning them there now. Third bar into the song, then Simon buzzed. I said, oh, shoots. I mean, knocks out your concentration. But I kept rapping anyways. I think it was near enough the second bar in, Amanda buzzed. Shortly after that, then David Williams buzzed. But Alicia, she kept hers off. She was feeling it, enjoying it in the chair. And I think it was just near the end of it, at the end of the second chorus, she buzzed out. And the crowd then went mad or applauded me. And then Simon says, just didn't feel your song. I said, you said you were going to do rapping, but you were doing a rock song. Which, I took on board. Maybe he was right. Because Simon's not Portlaoise.
Eventually he came back and he had a whole album written, about this subject. Like, I think he went in and he kind of projected all that feeling and emotion into the music, like, and that's what the Suicide album was about. And, that was the whole point of that, like, was to kind of get those emotions captured.
Wally grew up on Hungry Hill, and when he rapped it was laughter. 2 years later he's back on the mic, and the fuckers they follow him after. So now they know me, cause they know I'm gonna be famous. Cause they know I'm gonna be famous. So now
What keeps me going today on a day-by-day basis has to be the music. Because continue on from this film onwards, my problem doesn't stop here. I still have depression. But now I understand that I have it. And now I know how to cope with it, which is through the music. And from the music stemmed on with the workshops, which is the Hear Me, See Me. It actually made nationwide news. Who would ever thought that would ever happen? That just goes to show the true extent of allowing yourself to believe and giving other people the opportunity to allow themselves to believe as well.
Step in and punch, 2.
It's a great feedback from them. I think it's great once someone listens to you and absorbs what you're saying. It's great to get the feedback. It shows that, you as a character and as an individual are reaching to that person. And, that's a special gift to anyone, to reach someone.
3, Kia!
One thing I'd always make sure that the child will understand is that the child is never to have any fear or any shame in talking to me about it. I'm always there for the kid, no matter what. Be there as a mentor, as an idol, as a soulmate, and as a friend, and of course as a father. So here we are, Anne-Marie, the last stage of our journey of capturing the life of Wally, of who he was and who he has become. So here we are in this little bundle of joy in my hands. It's without doubt the best creation I've ever created, and will be. No song can compare to what he can do. He's like a new emotion that's kind of built in me, Tears of joy, It's like if all the worries, all the stress, all the answered or unanswered questions were all worth it, weren't they? You don't even know. Huh? But I'm just so happy. I suppose you look at the innocence of it. It's amazing, isn't it? my future is a lot brighter now, and it's the brightest that it has ever been in my life, for many reasons. When I look back from where I came from to where I am today, and what I have achieved, and what I have now in my life is my son. You know, I live for longer for him. Like, you know, I see his life, my life, down the road for him. But on a day-to-day basis, with my own struggles with depression, the music's there for me, momentarily, you know, as day by day. But he's always there for as long as I can live.